Hey there, lovely people. My name is Kat, and hey there, lovely people. My name is Kat, and if you clicked on this video, then you're probably curious to hear more about this carnivore diet. And if you have heard about it, perhaps you're looking to hear more of the results that someone is seeing while on this way of eating. You're probably also curious to know why even care to hear from my perspective, right? What are my credentials? And I'm here to tell you that I am not a doctor nor a nutritionist, and I'm certainly not a fitness expert, but I am someone just like you who is taking their health seriously. And at the time of this upload, I am nearing a month and a half on this way of eating and completely eliminating all carbohydrates from my diet. I'm really excited to share with you my overall results, the positives I've seen, and how easy and manageable I think that this way of eating is. And I really just want to cater to you videos of various recipes that are tasty and delicious, also that are affordable. I want to share with you product reviews, the tools that you should be keeping in your arsenal, and really just bring to you knowledge that I have learned on my own about this way of eating. So I encourage everyone to do their own research as well, talk with your doctor and figure out what works best for you. But I'm simply just coming to you from my own perspective as an average person who is really excited about sharing what they've learned. If you are also on this journey too and you're just looking for some support, I would really be happy to be that for you as well. So welcome to the channel. So as I mentioned before, there are quite a few videos that I plan to bring to this channel, but today's focus is really just going to be kind of my personal experience, my journey, what even got me on this way of eating, what immediate results I've been seeing. I want to share with you what are some things that no one told me about that I kind of discovered on my own, and really just kind of extend an anecdote for you. Another reason why maybe you could even try it yourself, and why we've been hearing so many great things about it from others. But throughout this video, I will be getting personal and I will be getting vulnerable with you. You have to forgive me. This is my very first YouTube video. I am in my kitchen by myself, thankfully, so it's not as awkward, I guess, but I find myself facing a camera and it's not the most natural setting for me. I do promise to get better and hopefully give you a reason to stick around. I have to remind myself why I'm doing this, and it's really, if I could just help one person out there, then this would be worth it for me. So to be completely transparent, I am 30 years old, and for most of my life, I have been very active. I've played recreational soccer, I ran track, I ran cross country. I've maintained an average weight most of my life. Well, most of my life until my mid-20s, where I completely devoted myself to my corporate job, and I was quickly climbing the promotional ladder. I was killing it from the outside, but on the inside, I was severely depressed, and it showed. I was not taking care of myself mentally, I was not taking care of myself physically, and I would probably eat only once a day. And when I ate, I binged. I'm telling you, it wasn't healthy at all, but I thought that I was filling up some kind of hole, some kind of void. I was really hiding my depression behind food. And so in 2019, I decided to make a change and focus on my health. I first started with body weight exercises before I moved on to weightlifting. And I was really excited to see the progress and the change in my body. I went from losing fat to seeing muscles, and I noticed the biggest change of all when I really started to focus on what I was putting in my body. I was on a calorie deficit diet and heavily tracking my macros. I was constantly playing with my fat to protein to carbohydrates ratio, thinking I could fine tune it and get the perfect formula for what my body needed. And man, was I hungry all the time. I was constantly thinking, when would I have my next meal? What would my next snack be? When I can have it, and how good it's gonna taste. Food was constantly on my mind, and it didn't matter to me that I was working out so hard. It mattered that if I was gonna stay full and stay satiated, and I never did. And because I was always hungry, I was always cranky, and I was always in a bad mood. I also too struggled with figuring out what foods my body accepted. What did it like versus what it tolerated and what I couldn't tolerate anymore. So for example, if I wanted a protein shake, I quickly realized my body does not like whey protein for whatever reason. And then I started realizing, oh man, anytime I have pasta, my body does not like it. I would bloat and I would really feel like a balloon sometimes. Didn't matter how small my portion was, my body didn't react well. And then I also thought it was really weird that why is it with vegetables, with jalapeno, for example, why could my body tolerate that? But man, the second I had a green pepper, I was having heartburn, and I too did not feel well at all. And so the struggle and stress of wanting to maintain a healthy diet, tweaking my ratios constantly, and you can't really know after a day, after a week, if something's working. I was getting frustrated because I'm dedicated, I'm staying consistent to my workouts, and I'm staying consistent to wanting to eat healthy, but I don't even know what foods are good for me. And that was a struggle I was facing. I even started to think, well, what if it's just me? What if I have an unhealthy relationship with food? I mean, that's the reason why I'm thinking about it all the time, right? I had to stop and realize that this cannot be healthy. Whatever it is that's constantly getting me hungry, maybe I need to intake more calories. I'm not sure what the solution looks like, but I know that there's a problem and I need to find something to fix it. So I went back to diet and I wanted to research some more as to what other options are there. And it really wasn't until during my research I came across Mikhaila Peterson's video on her YouTube channel. And I believe it's titled TEDx Wouldn't Post This. And I'm gonna link that in the description because I think it's really enlightening. What I've learned from her story is, so Mikhaila is an individual with an autoimmune disease. She realized that simply just eating meat was able to put her chronic illness into remission. That is insane, and that intrigued me even more. And I saw where she did an interview with Dr. Ken Berry, and he is a family physician. He is author of the book Lies My Doctor Told Me, and man, did he have so much information to share on her episode. He covered everything from, what is a carnivore diet and how exactly do you transition and what are the benefits, and really about his journey too. And then going on his channel, I saw he did several interviews, one including Kelly Hogan. And she is not only an educator, but she has been on this way of eating for over 10 years and has an incredible story. You go down these rabbit holes and you start to hear one story after the next, and you start to realize there is no formal research on this diet. And I want you to understand that, because I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm not trying to tell you this is the only way, but I just think it's incredible that so many individuals, whether they have a chronic illness or not, or someone like me who I've never been diagnosed with an illness or a major health risk, but constantly looking how to better my health, how this way of eating can benefit anybody. Before I get into my results, let me just give you some more insight about the diet itself. So if you're not familiar with a carnivore diet, what makes this unique is you are simply eating meat. So think of it as an elimination diet or a way of healing. So you are eliminating all carbohydrates from your diet. That includes sugar, that includes fiber. What's great about this way of eating is I am not only focused on meat, right? I'm focused on eating fatty meats. That is where your fuel is. If you are not eating carbohydrates, your body is not running on that insulin. You are running off of fat. And that is part of the ketosis process where your body's strictly running on fat. And so in order to refuel yourself, you need that fat. I love that there's so much variety in this diet. I've learned that you really want to focus on ruminant animals, eating any type of animal that has multiple stomachs, such as a cow or a goat or a lamb. But there's also room for eating seafood and eating shellfish as well. And so I love all of those types of foods, and I think that offers a lot of great variety. Another thing I'm committed to is avoiding all cooking oils. That's avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, all the oils. I'm only using either butter, lard, ghee, or tallow. Something else that I'm committed to is avoiding seasonings. The only thing I'll be utilizing for taste is salt. And salt is important, and I'll explain more why later. But it's part of the electrolytes that you are going to need as you transition into this way of eating. And I was also committing to limiting my beverages. I'm only going to be drinking water, and if I have coffee, it'll be black coffee, and that's it. No Gatorade, no lemonades, no alcohol, nothing. From the beginning, I really felt like I could do this. Now I'm going from a standard American diet where you look at the food pyramid and you have everything in there, right? It even allows room for sugar and desserts. So going into a full transition, it did not feel impossible to me. I felt like there's plenty of room for variety. I felt like there was variety in how I'd be able to prepare my foods. And most importantly, I really felt like this could be a consistent way of eating. I don't think I'll be missing glazed donuts or pizza if my body is gonna feel amazing, just as everyone has been reporting on their experiences. All right, so immediate changes within the first 2 weeks. So the biggest thing that I realized, and I didn't expect for this to happen so soon, but I was so energetic in the morning. I was so refreshed. I'm telling you guys, I have 1 cup of coffee a day, and that hasn't changed since before starting this diet. I've always had just 1, not 2 cups, not more on occasion, just 1. And so I wake up in the morning and I am so ready for my day. I'm ready to get out of bed. I'm ready to get moving. Whereas before, I did not have that energy. I would rely on a cup of coffee to get me moving. And I am not a morning person either, so don't let that fool you. Naturally, somehow in this diet, I feel great. Before, I would need at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep in order to feel moderately okay for the next day. But I've also noticed that ever since I started on this diet, I don't need as much sleep throughout the night. I don't need a consistent 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night in order to feel good. Or at minimum, I think 6 hours is what I've been having every night. And I love staying up late. I don't love waking up early, but with 6 hours of sleep, I feel rested. Because I'm energetic, I have more motivation to want to work out. I have more motivation to want to do the things that normally it takes so much energy to muster up and do. I mean, laundry, no one likes doing house chores, but somehow I'm able to get it all done in a day just because I have the motivation, I have the energy to do it. Another big change for me that I've noticed is that I am comfortably full. I can eat until I'm full, but I don't feel heavy. I don't know if you experience that now on a standard American diet, or maybe it was just me. I guess I never knew what it was like to be full and not feel so heavy, not feel so weighed down, and not feel so tired after every meal that I'm just ready to fall asleep on the couch. Kind of like after Thanksgiving, you eat so much or you're that full and you sit down on the couch and you start to get sleepy. And that used to be me, not anymore. I am not feeling weighed down by the food I'm eating. I don't feel bloated at all. I've seen a significant difference in my belly. It's gotten a lot flatter now, and I think it was before there was just a lot of bloat going on, and who knows what it was attributed to. I'm telling you, it's so difficult for me to find out what foods my body enjoyed or accepted or what it tolerated, and it was really a guessing game. But yeah, that's another big difference for me in what I have seen thus far. Now, in that time frame, I knew that I needed to give my body time to adjust to just processing meat and nothing else. I knew I needed to give my body time to resist sugar withdrawals or carb withdrawals. It definitely was difficult. But I will say with cravings, I did have to ask myself, man, like, let's just say a donut, for example. If I'm craving a donut, would I actually eat a steak right now instead? And if the answer was no, then I knew I truly was not hungry, and that craving was just my body missing sugar. And that kind of helped understand the science behind it, really understand why my body's acting this way. It made me feel better knowing that I was feeling more in tune with my body. If I did ask myself if I would eat a steak right now and the answer was yes, then that really means that my body's telling me I did not eat enough and I need to eat now and refuel myself. And that's another thing that I don't think anyone really prepped me for, how in tune I'd be with my body. Now, not just with hunger, because then you have to also learn how to tell when you're full. Another way of being in tune with my body that I did not expect was knowing when I'm gonna need electrolytes. And my body told me that because I started feeling a tingling sensation in my fingers. I felt a tingle sensation in my feet, and it just progressed throughout the day. And so doing some research, that's what I had realized. When you are on a low carb diet or just no carbs at all, then your body sheds a lot of water. And what that water are the electrolytes. If I'm not consuming magnesium and if I'm not consuming potassium, then that's going to be crucial for my body to alert me and let me know that I need it. I've also realized that sometimes my body tells me what kind of meat it's needing. After a couple of weeks being on this way of eating, I was having beef, I was having pork, but I wasn't having any chicken, which is totally fine, right? Chicken is a lean meat. I was craving a quarter leg chicken. I finally caved in and I was like, fine, if my body thinks that it needs it, I will eat it. And I did, and it was the most delicious chicken leg I ever had. But I ate it again the next week and it wasn't that good. I didn't feel as great after that. And I think it was my body's way of saying I didn't need that much more protein now, I need more fat. And that's pretty amazing when you can start to learn more about yourself in that regard. So I want to mention that if you're doing any of your own research, that there are some reports of people having what is known as the keto flu. It's having flu-like symptoms when your body's in ketosis. And again, as I mentioned, being in ketosis is just a state of where your body's functioning purely off of fat versus carbohydrates. And so with that, you may feel fatigued, you may feel nauseous, you may have headaches. And honestly, I did prepare myself mentally that this could be the worst 2 weeks ever. I think the average person who does experience the keto flu will have symptoms for a few days up to 1 week. But I mentally prepared myself that this could be terrible. Short amount of pain for a long time of happiness is what I am assuming I'm gonna get myself into. I'll be honest, I did not experience the keto flu symptoms. If anything, maybe a headache for 1 day. But that quickly subsided and I didn't really think too much into it other than I know it's a process for my body to adjust to this. I may be an exception, I don't know, but I don't want to dissuade anyone from looking at the reality that if you are transitioning to this way of eating, just prepare yourself for the worst in terms of the transition. And think about it as like a detox for your body. You know, it's not easy, but it doesn't last forever. I don't have much to share about my experience on having a keto flu or flu-like symptoms during this transition. So I will refrain from talking about that, but I did want you to be aware that there is such a thing that you could expect if you were to do this. I do want to talk to you about what were some of the things I learned that no one prepared me for. I no longer eat 3 meals a day. So when I wake up, I'm not ready to eat breakfast, right? I don't have that traditional breakfast where you wake up and you eat something before work. I am not normally hungry until about noon or 1 o'clock. That's when I begin to feel ravenous. Before then, I'm not hungry. I think you shouldn't force yourself to eat when you're not hungry just because you're used to that routine. And that's something I had to learn as well. So if you're not hungry, don't eat. It's okay. And when you are hungry, you make sure you eat and you eat enough. I really just trust my instinct, and as I mentioned before, I'm just finding ways to listen to my body with what it needs. I'll break my fast, I should say, my first meal around noon or 1, and then I won't have dinner until like 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. And then I'm good the rest of the day. I don't like to eat too late in the evening. I don't like the idea of my body digesting anything as I'm sleeping or like laying down after I'm eating. But that's just what my typical routine has been. All right, so like I said, it's just been over a month, but man, I feel so good. I feel so amazing. As an average person who is coming into this diet from a standard American diet, I feel such a significant change in my day-to-day. I am so excited to share more with you. I can't wait to share more content regarding recipes and just how easy it is to stay consistent. I'm telling you, it's one of the easiest things I've been able to do, surprisingly. One of the easiest things I've been able to stick with. And I know we're strangers now, but I really can't wait to have this relationship with you, and hopefully I get to learn from you as well. And I will see you in the next video.